So I like superheroes, right? I am more of a Marvel fan than I am a DC fan, though I really like Batman, only Batman, and I especially like Batman when he's working by himself. An isolated Batman stories, especially like Batman the animated series from the '90s. Yeah, I really like Batman. I love Marvel, but I don't read comic books. In fact, I have never read a comic book in my life. Part of it is because I am not a reader in general, but at the same time, I grew up in a country where reading comic books is not part of the social, cultural zeitgeist, whatever, right? But I've always been a fan of Marvel heroes, especially Spider-Man. I remember as a kid, I loved the animated series from the 90s. And also, one game that I really, really enjoyed as a child was actually two games. Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 1. I absolutely loved those games. Like, oh my god, those games were so cool for me. Because I think it's fair to say that Spider-Man, at least growing up before the MCU became a thing, Spider-Man was my favorite superhero. So playing Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on the PS1, that was such an amazing experience, and those games were awesome on my mind. Probably if I haven't played those games in 10 years, maybe more, 15 years, I don't know, I have no idea. But I have so much great memories, so many great memories of playing those games and enjoying them. Oh my god, it was amazing. I didn't play any of the legendary PlayStation 2 Spider-Man games, so I didn't play Spider-Man 2 on the PS2. I didn't play Ultimate or Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. Ever since the PlayStation 1 games, I had not played any Spider-Man game whatsoever. So my understanding of Spider-Man in gaming was Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2, again, on the PlayStation 1. Let's move forward to the year 2018, and they announced Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4. When I saw that trailer, I was like, you know what? I want that game. I really, really want that game. I'm gonna play that game. So I saw a couple of trailers, and I got the game. Then the game came out, and if I'm not mistaken, it came out relatively close to my birthday, so I got it. I bought it for myself, and I played it. Holy shit, that game is awesome. The reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I just recently replayed it for the fourth time, I want to say, and I was like, you know what, I need to talk about this game. I need to talk about this game because this is one of the most incredibly polished experiences out there. This game is awesome. Also, I am going to talk about the base game only. I haven't played any of the DLCs, and I haven't played Miles Morales, so my understanding and everything that I am going to say about it, everything is going to be restricted to this one, to the base Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. What a great game. Like, you can swing in this game for hours. For hours and hours, and you swing, and then you lunge, and then you jump again, and then you swing, and you move to this building, and now I'm going to fall, and now I'm going to swing again, and I'm going to go to that building because I can see it, and then I'm going to go to the next one, but now I see something interesting, I'm going to swing, and swing, and swing, and swing, and swing, and swing. I don't know about anyone out there, but in my case, I can swing for hours. In fact, I think I did that. I did that this time around. I swinged for hours and hours. It's fun. It's really fun, and it feels amazing. Obviously, you are not the one physically swinging around New York City, but you can feel how awesome it must be, because the experience of swinging in this freaking game is like no other. Again, I didn't play any Spider game. I hadn't played any Spider-Man game ever since the PlayStation 1 games. So imagine the leap in quality that I experienced from the PlayStation 1 rudimentary swinging system to this work of art. Oh my god, I could just boot up my PlayStation 4 again and swing, and that's it. And I could just do that. And I wouldn't get bored of it, because it's awesome. It's really, really cool. The combat is okay, it's there. It has interesting ideas about it, but that's it. It's nothing like revolutionary or anything. It's good, it's serviceable, it's fun. That's it. As a matter of fact, I think this game, I don't have a lot of complaints about this game. This game is just awesome. This game's just fun. This game is just, oh my god, swinging in New York City. Again, swinging in New York City. Like, seriously, does anyone out there uses the fast travel system? It's there. It's an option, but does anyone really say, okay, this is my next objective. I'm gonna use the subway, or I'm gonna fast travel to one of Harry's research stations, or I'm gonna go to my apartment, or to Feast, or to Doc Ock's lab. Does anyone really use the fast travel system? I'm pretty sure I didn't use it this time around on my playthrough. I might have used it 5 times in the past, only to get the trophy, and that's it, because there is absolutely no reason to use the fast travel system in this game. Why would you do that when traveling from point A to B to C to D to E to Z is so fucking fun? And sorry for my swearing, but this game is fucking fun. This game is so cool. Oh my god. And the characters and the story. Again, I'm not an expert in comic books or in Spider-Man history or anything like that. But this is one of the coolest interpretations of Spider-Man out there. The epitome of with power comes responsibility. The epitome of Spider-Man, the good person, the good guy who just wants to do good because it's the right and the correct thing to do. That's Spider-Man, and it's in this game. It's amazing. I love that he's not arrogant. I love that even for a super powerful individual, he's still very human. He's still very humble, and he is not. He gives everyone the chance to help him. In the mission with Jefferson Davis, with Officer Davis, seriously, did he really need the officer's help to solve that case? Not really. But Spider-Man is not the type of guy that was going to put him down or make the officer feel useless, because that's not Spider-Man. He encourages you to work with him. Let's do this together. It's not a me thing. It's a we thing. We can do this together. And I like that. I like that Spider-Man is like that. And in fact, his relationship with Mary Jane in this game is great, because the only reason he hesitates to allow her to help him is because he loves her and he doesn't want her to get hurt. For Officer Davis, I imagine is like, yeah, I mean, it's not as if he's expecting Officer Davis to die and he wouldn't care, but it wouldn't have the same emotional impact. Imagine for a moment, imagine what would happen in Peter's mind if Mary Jane dies because she was helping him. He wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Not at all. Not at all. And so we get this little conflict in the middle of the game where he doesn't want her to join him, but not because he thinks she's useless, but because he cares for her and he wants to protect her. You know, it makes sense. That's what I'm saying. It makes sense. I like the mini games in the laboratory where you identify substances, and when you I'm sorry, I'm not into engineering or anything like that, so I don't know how to call that. The the circuits thing where you have to rewire the charges and move the chip. Whatever. I have no idea. I'm an idiot. Go ahead, sue me. That's fun. It's fun because it's just quick and easy. It's very intuitive, and even the more challenging ones are not like time consuming. They're just like, okay, you just need to think a little bit more, and that's it. I like those. But the most important thing that I like about those mini games is that if you pay attention to what Peter's doing, he is essentially helping Dr. Octavius to enhance the Sinister Six. That's what he's doing. He is creating armor plate, he's creating substances, he's creating conductors, he is allowing Dr. Octavius to go along with his plans. Which, by the way, this brings me to Octavius. Octavius is awesome in this game. His character is so great. It's amazing that, and I think the game pretty much establishes this at the very end. The neurotransmitter didn't turn him evil. The neurotransmitter simply augmented those feelings that he already had inside of him. From the beginning of the game, from the very first interactions that you have with Dr. Octavius, you can hear his hubris. You can hear his low-key arrogance in the way that he phrases his sentences, in his word choice, in his our brilliance, Parker, our genius, we are going to save humanity. So if you replay the game, like with the benefit of hindsight, using retrospect, knowing how Octavius ends at the end of the game, the personality of Octavius, and you pay attention to the things that he says at the beginning of the game, you realize that it was always there. Yes, he's helping people, but that feels like that's basically a side effect. He is looking for recognition. He is looking for that adoration. He is looking for that glory. He wants to be the center of attention. And it doesn't help that he holds so much hate and resentment towards Norman Osborn. It's awesome. It's really, 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 really good. It's really, really good. Octavius is amazing. Octavius is great. The voice actors, by the way, the voice acting in the game it's great, but Octavius, it's great. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And then at the end, when he's trying to convince Parker not to defeat him, when he's trying to convince Spider-Man to forgive him, when he says it is our duty to guide those that are beneath us. That right there. That is Dr. Octavius. A brilliant scientist with a God complex. Driven by resentment because of what happened, 20 years ago with Norman. Norman is great at the same time, in the same way. Norman is very, very good because Octavius, he's in the front end, right? He's there most of the time. Maybe not most of the time, but at least he's there. You can see the progression of his character, right? You can see how he starts to draw out his plans on the boards in the lab, and he starts bringing the equipment and the suit and everything. Norman is not. Norman is always there in the background. You hear about Norman through the news. You hear about Norman through other characters, through Octavius, through the J.J. Jameson podcast, which those, by the way, are gold. Those J. Jonah Jameson recordings are pure gold, and without question, one of the highlights of this game. Those are top notch. Those are, it's impossible. Like, he's the only one that makes me stop swinging to pay attention to what he's saying, because he is incredible. Those are amazing. Okay, but Norman, going back to Norman, I'll return to JJ in a moment. But Norman is great because, again, he's never in the front. In the late game he is, but for the most part he is a background character. But basically the way he's characterized by other people, you definitely understand that there's so much more behind this persona, behind this mask of the benevolent mayor. Definitely. And even if you are not familiar with the comic books, with the original source material, even if you have no idea what Spider-Man is or any of the mythos, just by the way he is presented, you can understand that there's more to this guy. There's definitely more to Norman Osborn. And yes, that definitely is, because at the end of the game, what you learn is that Norman, he cares only about 3 people in the world: Harry, his son; Emily, his dead wife; and himself. The rest are irrelevant. He is going to use all his money, all his political and social power, all of his connections, all of his scientific and research resources in order to keep the well-being of himself and his son. That's all he cares about. The Osborns. That's everything to him. Like, even if there's like a strained relationship between Harry and Norman, he cares about his son. Definitely. By the way, something that I like about this game that it just occurred to me as I was talking about Norman is that this is a great game and a great story, because though it is definitely an adaptation, I mean, of course it is using the comics as a source material, you don't need to be familiar with comic books to enjoy this story and to understand the nuisance of the characters and everything. It exists in a vacuum, and that is great. I think that is a great move. That was a great decision. That was the correct choice in my opinion. Going back to J. Jonah Jameson. This is another character who is, it's a constant presence that it's never on screen. It's amazing, right? Because I like that these people at Insomniac, they had the care and they paid the attention to record podcasts that acted as a response to whatever it is that you do in the game. Like, if you complete thought crimes, he's going to comment on that. If you do side missions and side quests, he's going to... For fuck's sake, they recorded a podcast of Jonah reacting to Spider-Man catching pigeons, because that's a side quest that you can do, right? The pigeon catching, and there is a podcast dedicated to that. So, without ever appearing a second on screen, and again, I don't know if he shows up in the DLC, I haven't played those, but in the base game, without showing once, you understand his obsession with Spider-Man. You understand that this is an individual that dedicates 90% of his life to Spider-Man. It's fascinating when you think about it. It's kind of fascinating. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. This game is awesome, and I really want to play more. I just want to swing around New York City. I can see myself replaying this game a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, a 10th time, because it is fun. And even the side quests, the side activities, dealing with thug crimes and sable crimes and the demons, and none of those feel like they get in the way. They are organically woven into the fabric of the story and the rest of the gameplay, and it's just fun. I went out of my way to do the fist construction sites. I went out of my way to do the demon hideouts, the sable compounds, the prisoners camps, because it's fun. This game is fun. Yeah, that's all I have. Oh, no. Something else that I want to praise is the visuals. I mean, it looks amazing. I already mentioned that this game feels amazing. I like the amount of care and the attention to detail that went into the confection of this game. Because this is not an open world, by the way. This is definitely not an open world. This is a sandbox. At least in my mind, this is Grand Theft Auto. This is not The Witcher 3. If you understand what I'm saying, this is not Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. I'm sorry, the other way around. This is not The Witcher 3, an open world game. This is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. That's what this game is to me. To me, it's I don't know. It's very strange when I hear this game described as an open world, because to me it's so obvious that it isn't. But whatever. So much attention to detail went into the confection of this game, as I was saying. Like, you go to Feast, I want to say like 5 or 6 times throughout the whole story, and they have these little dialogues from the people that are there, from the people in the shelter. There's even this little story going on about the 2 people playing chess. And there's a story about she not wanting to go live with her daughter, either because she is ashamed or because she is she doesn't want to, or I don't know, but the story is there. They could have saved resources and time and not put that in the game, but they did. They decided to put time and effort and resources and money into a little side story that perhaps most players are not even going to interact with. And that's great. I think that is great. This is one of those games where you can see that the developers really cared about what they were doing, and it shows. I wish, the last thing that I'm going to say about Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4 And yes, you can get it on PlayStation 5. There's a PC port, whatever. I wish that I could go back, find my 8 to 10-year-old self and tell him, your dreams are going to come true eventually. Your aspirations of a perfect Spider-Man game, they're going to happen. Not now. Not now. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait. 15 years at least. But I wish I could go back and tell my younger self that there's a great Spider-Man game coming his way, that he's gonna love it. Because this is what this game is to me. This is the Spider-Man game. Because when I was playing, at the time when I was a child playing the PlayStation 1 games, I loved them, as I already said, but in the back of my mind, I was daydreaming. I was like, imagine an open world with this, or imagine if the city was bigger. Imagine if I could, because there were missions with swinging, but you needed to keep on the path, right? And there was just so much that you could do, and so I always thought, imagine if I could go there. Imagine if I could continue just swinging around and swinging and swinging and swinging and never falling. Imagine, I was just tinkering. This is it. This is it. If it isn't obvious by now, I love this game. It's definitely one of the best games I've ever played, and yeah, can't wait for the second one.